Hello everyone, my name is Laura and welcome to Book Bubbler. Last night I was watching YouTube and saw that Rincey of Rincey Reads put out a brand new original tag called the 10-Year Challenge book tag, based off of, I think, that Instagram challenge everyone is doing. And I thought it sounded like fun. I've been thinking a lot about my reading goals that I have for next year and reading habits I've gotten into and things lately, kind of mulling things over a lot. So this challenge came along sort of at the perfect time for me. I'm really enjoying I'm not really enjoying. I enjoyed looking things up and thinking about things that I did 10 years ago, what I'm doing now, etc. So let's get straight into it. Question number 1 is, what was your favorite book in 2009? And I had a couple that I really liked a lot, but probably this was my favorite. That is The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Alan Bradley. This is the very first book in the Flavia de Luce series, which I still love reading every year. I think they come out generally in like January or February, in the spring at least. Now they seem to be. So yeah, this is just a wonderful start to a delightfully quirky, I think she's 11 years old in this one. Summer of 1950. Buckshaw. They don't say how old she is on the back, but anyways, a really great mystery series with a wonderfully smart, precocious, though that sounds like not maybe terribly appealing things to find in a main character, but she really is smart and precocious and wonderful. So this would be my favorite of 2009. And what is your favorite of 2019? Of course, I always live in hope that, there's still a month left. Today is the very last day of November. So I'm hoping that I will still read my favorite book. Every time I pick up a book, I hope that it's my favorite. But this is a more recent read for this year, and that is Notes from a Small Island by Bill Bryson. He's been one of my favorite authors since the late 90s, really. I was lucky enough to see him when he came to Milwaukee 18 years ago, maybe 2001 or 2, at one of my favorite bookstores, Harry Schwartz, which I really miss. They closed. Anyways, so I got to see him speak, and he autographed a bunch of my books. I don't think this is one of them that he autographed. I think there was a limit, and I wanted him to autograph the editions that I had already read of the books I had read. Yeah, this is not autographed, but this is, of course, the British. Oh, this is the first US edition. I thought it was the British one. It's not. So anyways, Notes from a Small Island. A little dated, but that's okay. It's also a little bit nostalgic inducing then too, because you see what things were like in the 93, 94 when he was writing, probably since this was published in 95. Yeah, it was interesting to read. And I just recently watched the TV show that he did in England too. It was, it's abbreviated. It's not perfect, but to see physically how much things have changed. They showed a brief clip of the Queen, for an example, and oh my gosh, talk about time warp. It was so weird to look back, because you think, yeah, she's kind of always looked that way, a little older now, fine, but to really see her then, it's a little shocking. So anyways, that was cute. So that was my favorite book so far this year in 2019. Question number 3, what was your least favorite book from 2009? There were a couple that my reviews were literally just the word meh, so those weren't great, but the one that I know that I disliked is A Confederacy of Dunces by John O'Toole? I should have looked it up, but yeah, I remember reading it expecting to laugh a little or chuckle or smile or something, and I didn't find anything about it funny. I didn't like the main character, Ignatius. I remember him. He is a character, like a capital C character, of a person, but I just didn't like it, and I'm so disappointed in myself that I still don't like it, but I didn't like it. Question number 4, what is your least favorite 2019? I hope this remains my least favorite, but it was a short story I read as an ebook called The Vanishing Game by William Boyd. It was some kind of a James Bondian kind of guy who, I forget, he's an actor. He gets called into an audition, and it's like his birthday, but not the right name, so he auditions anyways. Everyone seems fine, and suddenly there are these two people, or three people, that are after him, chasing across from London all the way up to some remote Scottish island. I don't think they even say. I know he had to go to Skye at one point to get to this island, but it was just so ridiculous. This guy surviving by himself in the back of this van, or not van, Land Rover that this woman lent him, who was really after him too. And this, there was this hitchhiker or someone, this girl, which of course he mentioned her breasts, because why wouldn't you mention her breasts and someone passing by? I mean, it was just so ridiculous, so chauvinistic, so over the top, just, and it was a short story, so it was really quick. I mean, it took me 20 minutes to read, and the whole time I was kind of going, no thank you. So yeah, that was 1 star. That's The Vanishing Game by William Boyd. I do not recommend. Question number 5. What is a book published in 2009 that you would still want to read? So I was looking through my shelves. I have to say I didn't join Goodreads until 2010, but I did join Library Thing in 2008, and I did my first sort of reading challenges online in 2009. So I had to go back and look at my category challenge thread. Thank God for that. That's where I got my favorites and least favorites and things from. But anyways, I just looked up 2009 books that were published, and I have 4 on my shelves, physical copies, that I still would like to read. So that would be, the first one is The Lost City of Z by David Grann. This is sort of adventure nonfiction about him looking for this lost city of Z that Percy Fawcett, who was a British explorer, he went looking for in 1925 and I believe never came back from. So this is still on my TBR from 2009. This next one, Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. This is her first in the Cromwell series. I started reading this, oh, I have a Man Booker sticker on it. Started reading this over ebook from my library, and I kept falling asleep. My fault, not the books. But I do want to get back into it when I can stay awake and pay attention more. The third one from 2009 is Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese. I think I got this inexpensively a few years ago, and everyone I know who has read it has just raved about it. It's one of their favorite books of all time, if not the favorite book of the year. I mean, people just love this book, so I do want to get to it. Everyone keeps saying how big it is, and it is a bigger book. This edition is like 650 pages, which is not anything, you know, to sneeze at, certainly, but it's not anything compared to like the Diana Gabaldon that I'm reading now. All her books are all, you know, 800 pages minimum, so I do want to get to this one still. And then the one I want to get to the most from 2009 that I own is The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. There is no reason why I have not read any Sarah Waters yet. I think I own, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I own 4 of her books, including this one. Have read none of them so far. I mean, she seems like just a author sort of made for me, you know, featuring atypical main characters, ghosty things, gothic, kind of haunting, Victorian era. I love all that stuff, but I just haven't gotten to her yet. So this I would like to get to from 2009. Question number 6. What is a book published in 2019 that you would like to get to before 2020 starts? With a month left, I mean, there's a lot published this year I'd like to read. I would like to read Rules for Visiting by Jessica Francis Kane. I don't have a copy of that, and I think I'll buy it for myself with Christmas money, assuming I get some from someone. I didn't put it on my wish list, I don't think, but regardless. This one I do have a copy of. This was very kindly sent to me by my friend Mark from Library Thing. He got an ARC Advanced Reader's copy from the publisher and sent it my way. I missed the group read that he sent it to me for. Sorry, Mark, I was sick that month. But I still want to read it this year, and that would be The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I've wanted to read him for quite a long time, but this one sounds just really, really good. I remember reading about the school this is based on, the real school this is based on, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and being so horrified by it. So when this started, started hearing about this, that he was going to write a book based on this school, I really wanted to read it. So I'm glad that I have an arc to read now. Thank you very much, Mark. He isn't watching this. Let's see, question number 7. What is a genre that you used to read a lot of that you don't read as much of anymore? And glancing over my 2009 stuff, there really are 2. Classics. I used to read a much higher percentage of classics than I do now. I still buy them. That's the story of my life. I still buy the books, but I don't actually read them. So I used to read a lot more classics, and I used to be a lot more open to reading just sort of random library finds. I used to just kind of look for one that I wanted to read, and I would look on the shelves around where I found that book I wanted to read and just pick up 1 or 2 and read them. And I nearly always liked them, at least enjoyed them a lot. So I miss sort of the random serendipitousness of a library visit. Question number 8. What is a new genre you've discovered since 2009? There are, again, 2. It's mystery, which surprised me because I thought I had been reading mystery before that. I even made a comment in one of my little threads that mystery was my mom's genre, not mine, which that's the bulk of what I read now is mystery. So that's kind of funny that I have changed that much. I was reading some, Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie is a mystery, but I wasn't really getting into it. So mystery I have read a lot of, and the one that I didn't read any of before and I do now is romance. Just a few years ago, I started to read it. I'm finding a lot that I don't like, a lot that seems very pat or stereotypical or whatever, but there are some that I really do enjoy. So romance is a new one to me. Question number 9. What is a reading or book habit you are hoping to leave behind in this decade? I have 3 things written down. One is FOMO buying. I mean, I'm so afraid I'm going to miss something that if I see something for a good deal, or it's like a buy 2, get the 3rd free, or I'm at a library sale or something, and a book sounds even remotely interesting, I just get it. It's a problem. Another thing I'd like to leave behind is panic reading. This kind of goes hand in hand with FOMO buying. I am so nervous about what I'm reading at the time that I'm reading it, that I should be reading something else instead, or should have made a different choice to read a different book at that point. So that I shouldn't do that anymore. That's ridiculous. And the 3rd thing is related to that also, which would be second guessing my book choices and my reading choices. No matter what challenges I do or don't join, in real life or online, no matter what book I decide to read when, I nearly always pick something up, not because I want to read it and like right now I want to read this particular book. It's more, this has been sitting at the top of my to be read soon pile for a long time. I'm tired of looking at it. Someone mentioned it a while ago. They probably are waiting for me to get back to them about what I thought about it. They aren't. So I better read this now. So then I read it, and I read as quickly as possible. I mean, I know I read kind of quickly anyways, but I try to read it and get through it as quick as I can. And then I'm on to the next 1 or 2 or 3. I usually have about 10 books going at a time, but it's never enough, so I'd like to get rid of that sort of panicky, I might miss something, I made a wrong choice kind of stuff. And the final question number 10, what is a new reading goal or habit you want to create for this decade? That would be conscientious purchasing, not just going crazy and buying something because it's cheap. It's not my responsibility, even though I think it is, apparently. It's not my responsibility to catalog all the books in the world, to save everything from people forgetting about it, or a good copy is too good to pass up. This is a nice condition for, 50 cents. I should just buy it. I mean, stop that. And I also want to be able to focus more on each book that I'm reading it and focus on my goals too, and to be okay with that and to stick with them, because whatever goals I make are my goals. I can change them whenever I want to change them, but don't kind of do this waffly back and forth thing about it. Just really stick to the goals that I make. So that is the tag. I did want to quickly mention something that I saw that was interesting to me. So in 2009, I read a total of 75 books, which nothing to sneeze at. And before that, I've always read a lot, but I never really kept a list. I got too sick of it, or I'd peter out halfway through the year or something. So I read 75 books. In 2018, I read 188 out of a goal of 200. So I didn't make my goal last year, but that's okay. I still read 188, so that more than doubled what I read from 10 years ago. This year so far, I have read 136 books. My goal is 175. According to Goodreads, I am 23 books behind schedule. So I'd like to make my goal this year if I can. I have a month. I have a lot of graphic novels checked out from the library right now. I have shorter books on my shelves. I have a lot of books I'm currently reading. So there should not be any problem with me catching up and completing my goal this year. Let's see if that happens, but we'll see. The most books I've read in a year in the last 10 years was from 2014, and that was 234 books that year. That was the year that when my father unexpectedly passed away in November of 2013. My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer 1 month after. So 2014 was the year that I took care of my mom, taking her to all her chemo appointments, a lot of her radiation appointments. She stayed here with me at the house almost all the time so I could feed her and make sure she was doing okay, and doctor's appointments. And that was my whole year, was taking care of my mom. So I was trying to get out of my head. I was trying to escape the reality that I was in because it was so scary, and so scary is not big enough, terrifying. It was really terrifying. And to go through all that stuff with not really much support, that was really difficult. So I read as much as I could to distract myself from my life. I read in waiting rooms with my mom. We would talk about what I was reading because she was trying to get out of her head too. It was hard for her to concentrate on reading. She just couldn't do it. I don't think she read much at all that year. So we would talk about what I was reading, and we would watch kind of mildly horrifying TV shows and, true crime things, and to try and be like, oh, see, we're not so bad. We could be like them. But really, we're both just really scared. So I don't know if I'll ever read that much again. I would like to read that much again, don't get me wrong. That I need to read that much again if I want to get through the books that I would like to read every year and the stuff that's on my shelves. But I don't want to be for that reason. I'd rather read fewer books and enjoy them more and pay attention to them more, and or DNF quicker, than to read that many for that reason, just because my life was so chaotic and terrible. I wanted to get away from it as much as I could. So sort of interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to you too. But yeah, thank you, Rincey, for making this tag. I don't know anyone who I can tag. I'll tag my friend Sharon of Sharon Go Forth. Hi, Sharon. I'll tag her because I know her. And I might try and tag a few more people too. I'll see who I've subscribed to, who might want to do this. And I look forward to seeing all of your videos. If you're watching this and you want to do it, please feel free. Tag yourself. You're tagged. I'd love to see videos. Let me know if you make your own video. I'd love to watch it and comment. And yeah, I hope that you are doing well and enjoying your weekend. If you are here in America, happy belated Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great time. I hope you didn't go crazy yesterday on Black Friday, elbowing people for TVs and crazy things, whatever. I did all my shopping online. Very happy to do it from the comfort of my home in my sweatpants. So anyways, I hope you are all doing well and reading something great, and I will see you all soon in the next one. Bye.